trust the process. I think I am live. Hi, everybody. Hi, it's Elena of the Witches Box, and I am back after a fairly long break on the lives for Tuesday. Right? I don't know. It feels like it's been years. Even the last week, if I'm not mistaken, I did a live here on YouTube for the January Witches Box, right? I don't even know what day it is. At this point, I was supposed to be on here last week, but I had massive technical difficulties, but I'm back. So let's cross our fingers that my Celeste 4.0, which is my MacBook Pro, is back on the mend. And we're here. Okay, so hi, look at all of you here already. Let me really quickly reel myself back in, introduce myself, and then go into the amazing action going on in the chat room. Okay, I'm Elena of the Witches Box, and we do a live witch booktube. No, what do we do? I don't even know what we're doing. What do we do? I do a live gathering here on YouTube every Tuesday about 1 p.m. Pacific time, where I do an oracle reading and then we do witchcraft Q&A. The booktube videos are usually on Mondays. I am just all turned around because, again, it feels like I haven't been in front of this particular camera at this desk for way too long. But I'm here and I will catch up and I will catch on. So bear with me. I find it super thrilling that there are so many of you on the chat already saying hello to each other and to me. So let me just look through and say hello. Colum is here. Hello, Alexis, Summer, Lissum, Billy. Welcome. Hi, Billy from Cold, Maine. Jamie, Pamela, Lindsay. Oh gosh. Witchy in the Woods is here. Summer Smith, Emerance, Tatiana. Who else? Kimberly, I think I may have said Kimberly, but hello, Kimberly. Some random ginger is back. Amy, Season Wee Moon, hello. Sean, Kay, Kim, Pamela. Amazing. Welcome. It's so good to see you all, and it's so good to be back. I took a little bit of a break. I was traveling the last week of January, the first week of February, but I'm back. And it's just good to be here. There's a lot going on. So, for those of you who've never joined on one of these before, it's super casual. We get together, I do an oracle reading for the week for all of us, and then we just hang out and do witchcraft Q&A. I see that there's already a question being posed there in the chat box. I'll get to that. And yeah, and then sometimes what I'll do is I'll give a couple of announcements on what's going on. So really quick, at the very top of the hour, I just want to go into this announcement, and then we're going to go into the oracle reading, and then we're going to go into the witchcraft Q&A, and we'll hang out, which is amazing because I've missed you all. Okay, so quickly, those of you who are subscribed to the Witches Box, the February boxes have already started to ship out. We have 2 batches going out that are left. We have a batch going out today, and then the last batch of boxes go out tomorrow. So by tomorrow, all of the February boxes will have been mailed out. That box, I mean, it's kind of a reveal, but the box is the Oracle card box. For those of you who are subscribed, obviously this is who I'm speaking to, the deep dive video should go live on the forum today, late tonight, Pacific time. I want to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure that I can go ahead and put that into the forum tonight. We had technical difficulties. I had technical difficulties, so I wasn't able to put that video up on the website this weekend when I was supposed to. And then we also have a live gathering for that box here on YouTube for everyone to attend, whoever wants to attend. You don't have to be subscribed to the box to watch that video and participate. And that'll go, I'm actually not even sure, but it's the last Wednesday of February, which I could be wrong. I think is either the 23rd or the 25th. What else? That's going to be a fun one because we're going to talk about how to create your own Oracle deck. So that'll be live. That'll be here. Extra boxes for the Oracle card box should go on sale by potentially by Monday of next week, if not this Friday. But this Friday, for those of you who know what I'm talking about and those of you who have been asking about this Friday, the retreat page will go live on the website so that you can go to it, read it, and register to participate in our very first retreat ever. The retreat is going to oh gosh, I can't even talk. The retreat will take place in May here in Southern California. So there you go. We can talk about more about that later, but I'm super excited. That goes live on Friday. There are only 11 spots available for that. So just be aware. It's a thing. It's a thing, and I'm so excited. I can't even stand it. All right. Let me just take a pause. Let me take a drink. And let me, because I have lost the plot here. Veronica, welcome. Rochelle, Jolanta, Paulette, Elsbeth, Abby, Julissa, Clarissa, all these names that I've just not seen before. Welcome. It's wonderful to have you here. BJ, Nova Stella, beautiful, 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 beautiful. Okay, so I just read your names. I haven't read the comments, but I see a lot of hellos. I've missed you as well. Yes, you finally made it to a live, which is fantastic. I'm here for the Oracle reading in hopes of a mystery box date. We don't have a mystery box date as of yet, but I'm going to probably put it out there that potentially by June we'll have a mystery box out. Right now we still have mystery herb boxes that we just now keep replenishing, so those are happening. Hold on, there's a lot happening here. Yes, Alexis, I did see that Laura Tempest Zakharov has a new book. I'm really excited about that. Hold on. I'm reading. I see Column has got a lot of emojis happening because I know what that's about. And okay, so Billy says, "Ooh, what time on Friday and live here and or Instagram?" Okay, so from now on, for the most part, and unless I say otherwise, all of our lives are just going to take place here on YouTube. It's easier to manage. I'm going to knock on wood. We just don't get trolling the way we do on Instagram. Instagram has become a hotbed of messiness. So lives here Friday. I don't know if you're referring to the Friday live that we're going to be having, that we have every Friday for the live guided meditation. That's at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Now, the Oracle card live Q&A that we're going to do, that's the last Wednesday of February. And I don't know. Let me look at my phone so that I don't mislead all of you. That will be, let me look at my calendar. That's on the 23rd. So on the 23rd of February at 10 a.m. Pacific time, there's already like a little placeholder here on our YouTube channel for that live. You can be subscribed or not subscribed, but you can participate in that live because we're going to be talking about creating your own Oracle deck and also creating your own divinatory die set. So it'll be an interesting conversation. It'll be fun. I'm going to scratch my eye because I have an itch. Okay. What else do I need to say? Hold on. I'm overstimulated. I haven't been hanging out with you guys in so long. Emerin says, definitely missed you, Elena. Thank you. I was just looking for the link information and time for the box Q&A, and for the life of me, I couldn't find it until after it was over. So if you're talking about the January box Q&A, the links to that are in the forum under the thread for that box. The link also will go out and goes out when you get that email with your tracking number for the box. So the February email that you're getting for that box, you should have gotten that, I think, Friday. That has the link to that next live, but it's always going to be on the forum. Go to the forum, go to the thread for that box, and those links will be there. And then when the video, the deep dive video goes live, I put it in there as well. So all the videos and all the video links are going to be in the forum under the thread for the box that you're looking for. Oh, the info for the retreat. Okay, I actually don't know what time of day that's going to go. Like, there's always this like sense of what time is the best? Do I do 10 a.m. Pacific time? Do I just do midnight Pacific or midnight Eastern on that day? I don't know. But this is what's going to happen. It'll go live. An newsletter email will go out saying, hey, this is live. The email people will get it first, and then we'll start posting it to, what is it called? Social media. I need to decide. I just need to decide what time that needs to go live. But I'm always hesitant to do that because even though we put a sales page together with all the information and we check and double check and triple check and all the things, right before we go live, there's always like, oh God, this thing is broken, or oh God, this thing is not working. So I'm always very reticent to say, It's going to go live at exactly 12 o'clock. It'll go live in the morning. How's that? I'm willing to commit to the morning time. That's it. But the email will definitely go out. So you'll get the email. Tanya says, hi, Tanya. Hello. Can you get boxes when you can afford them? Yes, you can get boxes on and off whenever you want. We always have some inventory of extra single boxes available. So, for instance, the people who are subscribed, are now, as we speak, getting their February boxes. But I always make extra, and so those extra will go on sale within the next week or so, and that happens every month. So when we have extra, if you can afford it at the time, you can buy one at that time, or you can wait. But we have inventory. So if you go to our Witches store, you can see whatever we have in inventory now, so that if you have it available in your budget, you can go ahead and grab whichever one you want. Wait, we have a troll? Oh, we do. And bye-bye. It's that easy. Oh, I can do all sorts of things. Oh, this is exciting. Hold on a second. And timeout. There's even a timeout. Okay. Hold on. Summer asks, does the charge for the March Witches box come out a day early on the 14th? I heard it did instead of the 15th. Is that wrong? No, typically, for the most part, the charge always comes out on the 15th. We have had some challenges in the past, and every once in a while, depending on where you are and where we are, if it comes out just after midnight our time, Pacific time, sometimes that's not the right time for other people, and it's still on the 14th for other people. So it's a time zone thing. But no matter what, the 15th is the day that the charge comes out of your card. And if you're on the 14th, it's usually because there's a time zone discrepancy. Okay. Sadly, I can't manage. Yeah, I mean, look, we're gonna do more. I have a list. Elsbeth says, sadly, I can't manage May this year. There'll be more, because I was able to get away and really just receive and do my work, and what really wants to happen into the future of the Witches box just came through in a really clear way. I've been kind of skirting with this, and I knew what was going on, what I wanted to do with this, and what direction I really wanted us to go in the next year or so. But I hadn't taken enough time away from all the things that are happening 24/7 in my world to really just give it the space and the honor to come through that it required. And we will be doing my goal would be to do 2 to 4 retreats a year, with various different themes. This first one is kind of a fun, it's interesting because I can't believe we're talking about this. I want to get into the Oracle deck and then we'll talk about this, but let me just finish this thought and then we'll move on to the Oracle card. The way this one kind of evolved, it evolved with all of you, those of you who were part of those original first conversations about let's just get together in the woods and read books together. So it started out as this idea of just let's take a vacation together, basically, but we're witches and we're going to be in the same space together, and there's room for reading and sharing what we're reading, and we're going to have someone cook amazing food for us, and it's going to be beautiful. And also, we're witches, we practice, we do things, and now that we're together, we have the ability to practice various different rituals together. That I don't want it to be super, super ritual heavy, although for some it may feel ritual heavy because we'll have something going on each night and we'll have something going on each morning. But it'll be ritual work that supports the gathering together in the woods as witches and reading. So we'll be ritualing. We will be doing some altar work together. We will be doing a lot of reading. There is optional yoga in the morning. And here I am getting ahead of myself. So yeah, I don't even know where I started with that, but we will have more retreats coming. So if you missed this one, there will be others because there are only 11 spaces. So know that obviously not everyone sadly can come. Okay, I'm going to read what I've got here in front of me, and then I'm going to put a pin on this and do, the Oracle reading. Oh, I've missed a lot of conversations. So I think we're talking about creating. I'm super excited about learning on making our own tarot cards. Yes. And then Column says, yeah, this should be super interesting. I can't draw. So there won't be a whole lot. There doesn't have to be any drawing of, there doesn't have to be any drawing at all, but we'll get into that. And I think that I'm going to start releasing a couple of shorts of me creating my own so that you have an example of what that looks like. So that's coming. If you get the subscription, you can go to your account and there's an option for pause. Yes, thank you, Emerence. That's okay, Miss Melissa. We haven't actually started yet. Okay, Huffy, hello, welcome. I had to pause my subscription this month, meaning I won't get the March box because I spent too much on Amazon. I mean, look, it happens. This is why the pause button's there. Pause as you need, and then you come back when you can. That's just how it works. We all have budgets that we have to work with. Alexa says, same, I need a bit more advance notice to make it back to the States, but cannot wait to attend a retreat. Everyone says, I'm in the Pacific zone and mine hits around 11 p.m. on the 14th. Oh, that's interesting. That a hold was placed on my card. I used to work in banking and financial services. So if you really want a more in-depth, let me know. You're in Vegas. You are in a different time zone, but you're in a later time zone. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but it's a time zone issue, as my web person has explained to me. If you're out there, hello. So I'm not sure, but if you find it that it's on the 14th, it's because it's around the 15th. So that's just kind of how that works. All right. Let's take a breath. I am still pulling from the Nick Bantock deck. This is the deck that I'm working with. This is also the deck that everyone who is subscribed to the box and getting a February box is going to get. This is in the box. So beautiful. This is a fairly in-depth deck. I don't normally, you know how I roll. I just let the cards speak to me and then I just give you a reading. But for this one, I'm definitely reading out of the book. So because of that, I've already pre-pulled the card, which is right here, and I've bookmarked the page. And this is the card that we got, which is a beautiful card. They're all beautiful. It's the Alchemist. I mean, I really cannot get enough of this deck. It's so, so beautiful. And for this, I'm actually only going to read the attributes to this archetype. So this deck is an archetype deck. And there's so much work that can be done with archetypes. So it's one of the reasons why I love it. It's one of the reasons why I don't really like the idea of sitting here on camera with you and reading out of a book. That's why I've tended to steer away from decks that require a lot of reading. But with this one, I really wanted to go into it because we can do so much. So let me read to you about the Alchemist. This is what's come up for us as a community for this week. And the attributes of the Alchemist card is the Alchemist has the capacity to open your eyes and show you beyond the mundane to the great window that looks out on the unfolding universe. His is a spiritual philosophy, a pursuit of eternal life, found by living in a state of constant wonder and presence, which is beautiful. And we all know that the art of alchemy was the search for blending different chemicals or different metals in order to find gold or to create gold. That is the concrete definition of what alchemy started as and is. But there's a metaphor. There's a beautiful spiritual metaphor behind being the archetype of an alchemist. Because if what we're trying to do is weave and mix and blend certain things in order to find the gold or to create the gold, it isn't just speaking about wealth or actual, I don't have any gold on me now, but actual gold. It's about what is the true value? What is the pureness of the life that you're living? What is that pure state of spiritual connection? What is that pure state of understanding, right? We are in a constant, as witches, whether we know it or not, we're in a constant state of alchemy because we walk in a world where we are conduits of connection. And I was talking about this, and I don't remember in what video now. I don't remember because it was one of the ways that I was communicating with you where it's very easy to feel like, oh, I'm totally connected. I know what's going on in the news and I know what's going on in all the social media platforms and I know what Elena did yesterday and I know what so-and-so did the night before and I'm connected. But you are living in the chemicals or the ingredients of the superficial noisy space or terrain, right? So it's very easy to think I'm connected, I'm aware, I know what's going on. I'm living the fullness of my part of this cacophony. But the reality is that this is an incredible distraction. As witches, deeper in our bodies, deeper in our souls, we are connected to the seen and the unseen in its truest substance. It's all this noise that gets in the way of us really tapping into what's really happening when you walk in the room and you understand the energy of a room, when you can see someone from across the room and you have a hit as to where they are, what's going on with them. Those are the awarenesses and the connections that come when we are in a different place. That's the alchemy. That's the gold. That's the true connection as a spiritual person. We are aware on a really deep, rooted, but also connected to the ethers level. So when a card like this comes up, when the alchemist comes up, for me, my personal, just in my own personal cosmology, the gold that we seek in abundance, the gold that we seek to create as alchemist is really about the purest value of the thing that is. So without the artifice, without the fakery, without the performance, there's so much performance. I mean, that's a whole other conversation. What is beneath all that? What is the truest form of itself? And that's the realm of the witch. The realm of the witch is we do all of these transformative rituals in order to connect deeper, or be aware in a deeper way. Because when we move, right? We're moving through the world, but we're also moving things around us just by virtue of the energy stream that we hold, by the gold that we resonate with. So I've gone way further beyond what he wrote in this book, but the question in terms of this card that I have for you in this reading is, what is it that you're creating with your words? What is it that you're creating with your actions, with your intentions? And is it truly like, are you as an alchemist witch creating true gold with your words and with your deed and with your energy as you move into different spaces? How are you manifesting and alchemizing your true spiritual gold in the world? So that is the question for this week. That's the Oracle reading for this week. And it's just such a gorgeous card. And hi, I've been revealing this for forever, but those of you who are subscribed to the Witches box and are getting the February box, you get this deck in your box. So there's that. All right, I'm going to drink some water because I don't know why I'm super dehydrated today. And I'm going to see what is going on here in this chat box. Okay. Yes, hit thumbs up. That would be lovely. Thank you, BJ, for encouraging people to do that. Hit thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. That way you can be alerted for whenever we do another one of these lives. Let me see. Let's see. Do have I miss? Oft. It is a nice thick book for sure. The deck is beautiful. Really? Kellen, that was a card for last time? That is so funny. I wonder if I had the same reading. That'd be interesting to go back and look. And it sounds like cooking to me. It is in a lot of ways cooking. Cooking is alchemy, absolutely. And also teaching kids stuff. I'm on my way to doing both of those things in my life. Just need to get into the woods now. Yes. Abby says, I have the Archetypes deck by Kim Kranz. Yes, I have that deck too. That's a beautiful deck and her work is powerful. There's a similar card in that deck, the Creator. Yes, absolutely. That is, I have, where did I put it? It's somewhere here because I'm finally rearranging my office, and I pulled it out and I put it somewhere so that I can have it in my line of sight so that I can take it home with me and play with it. And now it's not in my line of sight. So go figure. Summer says, my February box was supposed to be delivered today, but USPS sent it to the wrong post office 2 towns over from me, hoping it doesn't get sent all the way back to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Very aggravating. Yeah, I mean, we probably at this point need to start talking about collective magic for the USPS postal system and all delivery systems all over the planet, because it is a hot mess. We are still chasing down boxes that were supposed to go to one place and ended up in whole other countries. Yeah, I can't even talk about it because, again, I say this all the time. Excuse me. Oh gosh, where I am just in constant frustration. I'm trying to learn to surrender. Like, this is just the normal that we're living with now, but it's still so frustrating. All right, I'm sorry. I have to look at my phone because I have to turn off my heater. because my throat is getting super, super dry. Okay. I know I've missed a lot of your comments today. I'm just so out of practice. Someone's talking about serious quantum entanglement there. I love it. Season Wee Moon, Julmar says, as a witch, I simultaneously straddle the world that exists and the one that is to come. Beautiful. My leanings from Sukhvinder Sikar of Joyous Woman. Beautiful. Hi, Jolie. Um, all right, I'm not even going to tap into this conversation because it's not with me, which is great, but I love that you guys are talking about quantum entanglements. That's amazing. Just opened my box last night. Woohoo, yay, wonderful. So the video for the box will go live on the forum, the deep dive video. Will go live on the forum tonight or by tomorrow morning. Depends on how long it takes for it to all upload. And then the live like Q&A, which is a second video, because now the box comes with 2 video gatherings. Well, 1 video gathering and 1 video class. That'll happen on the 23rd of February. Collective, yes, collective magic for so many things going on in the world. I mean, there's just a list, right? There's so much. It's a I'm a little I can't even say that I'm tired, although I am tired, but not as tired as I've been for sure. I've really gotten deep into some rest. But I'm more bewildered now at this point. Like I'm walking around with this sense of bewilderment, like I'm half in, half out. Like it's just kind of a surreal existence and world that oftentimes I don't even know what to say about it. So, Kay Huffy, that means that you could very well not have had issues yet because we still have, you may have missed this announcement earlier in the video, but we have 2 more batches of boxes that are yet to go out. One is going out, I think, as I speak, because I just heard UPS, the car or the truck. And the other one is going out. The final one is going out tomorrow. So there are still 2 batches that have not gone out because that's just how we're rolling. That's just what's happening. Abby says, I'd like to try and find a similar card in a deck I have to sit on my desk after these readings. It helps to keep it fresh to mind for the day. Okay, let me think. Because if you were just working with the tarot, if you were just working with the tarot, a card that could symbolize the alchemist could be, to me, it's a combination of the priestess and the empress, because one is very much about the spirit and the other one's very much about the earth, and there's an alchemy there between the 2 of them. Potentially the Hierophant, but I like the combo of the 2 because so much of what alchemy is the weaving in of ingredients together to create a whole or to create something wholly new. But I think someone else mentioned another deck, Alchemist, the Creator, the Sorcerer, because there's also overlap there with sorcery. So I think it just depends too on the deck that you're using. Emeralds. Okay, Emerald says, Elena, just as you were reading the comment about the missing box and was thinking about that same thing, I would love to see a regular thing about that because I will my stuff to me. Do you mean like a regular announcement about, hey, let's do some delivery magic? Because maybe we just need to do that. We'll post that. That'd be kind of cool, actually. We can post that like once or twice a month to say, hey, everybody, do some delivery magic for our postal service because things are going out. That's a good idea, actually. We should do that. That'd be fun. Lasem says, happily, I never got a tracking email, but my box arrived on Monday afternoon. Yay! Looking forward to the deep dive video for after work tomorrow morning. Beautiful. Melissa says, I have a random question and complete off topic. Do you know where the malas in the love spell magic is from? I love it so much and I wanted to see if they had any others. They are so magical. So they are from, I ordered them made for us. So they are custom made. And they're not a retail store. They're from a vendor, a crystal mine that we work with in Japan. I mean, not Japan, in China. So they were custom made. However, there are some gorgeous, gorgeous mala makers on Etsy. There is one, quite a few. My teacher makes malas, and she makes beautiful malas. She doesn't have malas in her shop often, but when she does, jump on them because they're made exquisitely with amazing energy. And it's Oblio malas, hold on, OB Liomala on Etsy, some variation of that. She also has an Instagram account under Obliomalas, and beautiful, beautiful malas. But you can find some really gorgeous malas on Etsy, and hers are exquisite. She does them very consciously in a meditative state. She really just, they're imbued with a lot of potency and gorgeous. Okay, I read that. Thank you, Butterfly Magic. Yes, the Magician card can also serve as the Alchemist. Yes, thank you for that, reminding me of that. I don't work with a Magician card as often. That's why I always go to the ones that I work with the most. Abby, so that was me. I meant that's why I pulled out the creator. Oh, got it. Yes. Okay. Thoth deck. Art. Temperance, maybe. I don't have a Thoth deck. I can never say that word. It always trips me up. So, Baby Witch question, what is a mala? I'm not going to walk across my room because I've got about 10 hanging on my altar. So a mala, you've seen them. A mala bead is the long beaded necklaces that you normally see on Buddhists or people who do yoga. And there are 108 beads, typically in some form or in some grouping around it, with like a bottom, like it's called like the guru bead or a single bead, and then like a little tassel, right? You've seen them before. And it's not something that typically witches work with. It's kind of made its way into mainstream spirituality, but Catholics have their rosary, and that's a form of a mala bead. And Buddhists and Hindus do mala beads, right? And the idea is that you do a mantra practice. And if you're doing it in Hindu, there are different mantras for different things that you do, and there are repeated sounds. And the idea behind an 108 mala bead mala is that if you do a mantra 108 times, you are doing sound vibrations that are coming into the main 108 energy entry points into the body. So you are imbuing and recalibrating your body to the magical vibration of that sound mantra. And if it's in Hindu or in Hindi or in Sanskrit, they're not always necessarily words. They are sound vibrations that do certain energetic shifts and create certain energetic shifts within us and around us. Yeah. So that's a mala, and it's used for that purpose. You can also take a mala, because we had a mala bead that went out in the love box, which we may have like 3 or 4 left in our inventory. That's a beautiful box because it not only has the malas, it's a beautiful rose quartz mala with a quartz crystal at the end, but it also has the beautiful, huge Rose of Jericho plant and the heart bean, or the sea heart bean. That's a really beautiful talisman. There's all sorts of stuff in that box. We have like less than a handful. So if you're interested in that, go to the store and get that. In any case, you can also, and part of what's in that box is you can take a mala bead, and if you're not practicing anything that would require Sanskrit or Hindu or Buddhist mantras or chants, you can create an affirmation of your own, right? So it can be, I am love. It can be something simple. I heal. I'm healed. Whatever it is that you're working on. And then as a meditative practice, I wish I had one here with me. You would go through each bead. You sit in a meditative pose, and you'd have it in your hand, and for each bead you'd recite the mantra, and then the next bead and you recite the mantra, and you do that all the way through until you get to the full 108. And that's how you would use a mala, and it's a really beautiful practice. It can help facilitate people who are really having a hard time with just breathing silent meditation to do this as a kind of a gateway into silent meditation. This is a really beautiful way of really bringing in the meditative aspect and all the benefits that meditation does for us spiritually and physically and mentally and neurologically. But it also brings in, I'm working with a very particular intention that I want to imbue and calibrate both my physical and energetic body to. So when you have a mantra like I am love, over time that begins to really change you. So it's a really gorgeous practice. I hope that that helped. What's a oblio mala? Oblio mala is the name of the store. So if you look for oblio mala on Etsy, I don't know that she's got anything in stock now, but she does beautiful mala work, and you can also look for oblio mala on Instagram. Like prayer beads, yes, they're like prayer beads. Have you heard of the potion craft video game? Oh no, it's not real magic, but it's real nice and involves using various ingredients and substitution ingredients for similar magical results. I have not heard of that, but I love games like that because it's always fun to play with witchcraft. Yeah. Oh, I love that. I wear that bead for love readings. Gorgeous. As I'm listening, I noticed it was 333 and my phone is 33% battery. There you go. You got some numerology going on there. Beautiful. 3 is a number of manifestation. Column says, is rose quartz and quartz waterproof? Yes, they are both waterproof. So if so, I've got some ideas springing to mind for my next self-love ritual. Beautiful. Yes, they are both. There are some crystals that don't do well in water, but they both are. They're not damaged or hurt by being in water. Emran says, my upstairs neighbors just suddenly, when the new owners and staff took over in November, have become difficult. And any suggestions for mala chants or something, anything to get peace and quiet? Hold on, let me think. Because mantras work on you and your energy field, the way this would work is that you would shift your energy field such that either they would come into resonance with you and what you're holding space for, which would be peace and quiet, or that can require a lot of energy and a lot of shifting and a lot of holding for you. You really have to be like a very potent um source of that kind of energy, right? Peace and quiet, so that it affects other people. But when you're trying to affect other people, they've got a whole bunch of other stuff that belongs to them going on as well. And moving people to your will takes a lot more power than moving yourself to a place where what's happening around you doesn't bother you. You have choices there. You can go one way or you can go the other. Because if you do a mantra practice for peace and quiet, the peace and quiet will be in you. And maybe that becomes enough. Maybe that is enough for you so that no matter what is going on around you, it doesn't bother you. Or it becomes so strong within you that everything around you begins to resonate to that same field and becomes peace and quiet as well. Both things are valid and both things can be really powerful magics, as also creating a mantra where I'm at peace with whatever is. I'm at peace with whatever is, which is also incredibly powerful. It doesn't sound as sexy, but it really then creates within you the ability to move in the world and experience things in the world where instead of being reactive to it and being thrown off your center because of it, you are still centered and you're able to move around it and be pliant around whatever might come your way and be responsive as opposed to reactive, if that makes sense. Yeah. So you've got like 3 different directions that you can move in with that kind of practice. And what that looks like is that you would sit down in the morning. You can do it as many times a day as you want. You don't have to do it just 108 times. Sometimes you can do a double mala, but you can sit down in the morning and do a meditation where you do a mantra for the full 108 in the morning, and you can do it at night, or you can do double, or you can take a day a month, like on the new moon or a full moon, and do an entire sitting where this is a lot, but once you practice and you get really good at your meditative seat, you can do an entire day. 3, 4, 5, 6 hours of just mantra practice can be really amazing and transformative, like that. Susan Weeman says, Elena, I'm experiencing great challenges in thought, mindset, conversations when gathered with non-witches. The old goddess feminists seemingly are tolling. The old goddess feminists seemingly are tolling with not feeling empowered. Thoughts. I think I understand what you're saying. I feel that. I feel that a lot. There are two things that come up for me in response to you. There is a world where the deeper and longer we spend in our practices, um, the more refined our energy becomes and the more clear our energy becomes. It can become over time increasingly more assaultive to the nervous system to be with people who are not in the same alignment as you, whether they're witches or not, right? Because you can be in a conversation with a non witch, but who is in value and spiritual alignment with you in other ways. It can become more difficult over time because there is there's a there's a dissonance there, yeah, and it becomes incredibly uncomfortable. There is also the fact that as witches, people who understand the world in a different way, we understand the world in an energetic way. um, there are some of us who are called to the path of helping everyone come into a resonant field that is healing, that is calibrated, that is in alignment with life and thriving and with love and healing. Not every witch has to do that, by the way. It doesn't have to be the path or the mission for each witch to try to heal the world. But as we do more practices, as we become more refined in the way that we move in the energetic world, the seen and the unseen, and we start to experience these jarring and sometimes really assaultive energies when you're with people who are not in alignment with your values or with life, yeah, who are not biophilic the way witches tend to be. The choice is you start to make choices about not getting involved in those situations or with those people anymore. But there are drawbacks to that because you become more isolated, but you're also much more susceptible to being jolted, and you're also much more susceptible to that kind of onslaught. So I think that there's a balance to be had there where we practice holding our own space, even though I am in conversation with or in group with people who are not in alignment and who can feel like they take a lot more work to be around. And that comes from, or that, I guess, resiliency can come from very intentionally setting time aside each day. Because at this point, I've tried really hard to like not be that person that says you have to be practicing every day because I want to make life easy for all of you. But the reality is, your whole life is a practice, and it only becomes much more effective for you when you are clear about that. Yeah. When you're more intentioned about that. And as we become more sensitive to people around us who are not in alignment, the practice and the intention now needs to become, may my boundary be both permeable but strong, so that whatever is going on out there doesn't throw me off of my center, because I can see it for what it is. I can see that there is a misalignment here, and I am able to still be here in my strengthening container, holding my space and not affected or buffeted by what's going on out there in a way that is utterly disruptive to who I am and what I'm holding, if that makes sense. It's not easy. I I struggle with the balance because I know that it wouldn't be, as much as it sounds like it would feel amazing, it does not serve me to be fully isolated from the world and people who are different than me. It doesn't serve me. And I don't think that it serves the world. So I'm constantly working through, when do I need to really pull back and regenerate so that when I'm in those situations, I'm not thrown off my center. And sometimes it means that I can only be in that kind of situation maybe once a week, maybe once a month. I mean, really, it comes down to really managing the minutia of your energy that way, where I need to be out in the world. I'm committed to affecting positive change in the world. And it requires being around sometimes people who are just not in alignment and feel very disruptive. And once I've done that, I'm getting better at realizing it's going to require this much time and this kind of practice and this kind of rest to not only recover from that, but to strengthen how fully embodied, because that's also very important, how fully embodied and how fully centered I am in my own alignment, so that I'm not affected and I can respond and not react. Those practices are going to be different for people depending on what works for you. Embodiment for me is critical. Moving the body, conscious body movement, so that you are remembering your whole self and you're not living outside of yourself, disconnected from the body, is probably one of the most powerful tools a witch can practice ever, because we are very disconnected from our bodies and it's incredibly disempowering. And the more we are in our concrete, physical, flesh, carnate body, the harder it would be for you to be thrown off that center. The body has to be integrated. So I'm saying so many things, but I hope that helps you. There's so much more that can be said about that, but I'll check in with you to see what you say here. The other thing I want to say, I'm just reading your question again, that you're experiencing great challenges in thought, mindset, and conversations. It could be a season. Yeah, it could be that, yes, you're becoming much more sensitive and much more refined in your energy that you hold, but it could also be that you're just in a season where you just need to be not doing that, because you need a time to resource yourself, to replenish and to recalibrate, and then go back out into the world and do that more often. So it takes intuitive checking in to see where you are in that spectrum. Okay, let me catch up. Okay, there's some suggestions about mirror magic. Yes, mirror work for sure. You're welcome. Layla, or Lalia, yeah? Girl, I cannot pronounce your name. I'm so sorry. I think it's Lalia, because I scan it and I see Layla, but it's not Layla, it's Lalia. Hello, you're sorry late, but you're fine. I just got off work, so welcome. I got my witch's box yesterday and I love it, and so do my cats. Wonderful. Oh, because of the catnip. There's catnip in this box. Good grief. They send many meows and thank yous for the awesome catnip. Wonderful. I'm so happy. Jilmar, okay, smiling wide, adoring your wisdom. Oh, wonderful. I hope that was helpful. Emily, welcome. Have you come across any books about goddesses, gods, and personifications of peace? Or personifications of peace? There are a lot of books about goddesses and gods. I'm not happy with many of them. I don't feel like they go deep enough. However, there is, I don't remember the author's name, but we covered this book maybe 2 years ago, but Bridget's Flame is a really beautiful book. Bridget is really a beautiful deity to work with, and there is work with peace in that book, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have a book for this, but I do have a deity for this. My time and work with Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin is, in her simplest definition in the Western world, is the goddess of compassion. She is much more than that. She's very multi-layered. I've had a lot of difficulty with her in my work in the past, which is interesting, but I mean, it had a lot to do, I think, with my relationship with my mother. But there is a very deep and abiding peace that also comes from working with deities that are high resonant field for compassion. Compassion can bring a lot of peace, even though it can be incredibly uncomfortable. So there's a mystery there. But in terms of books, the one book that's coming to mind, where is it? Okay, the one book that's coming to mind that is probably not what you're asking for, but it's in my mind because I had it in my hand and the book is so good and I love this author, is The 12 Faces of the Goddess. And it's actually an astrology book, but it's through the archetypes of the goddess and the different phases of the moon, but also I think the different moons of each year, by Danielle Blackwood. In there, I don't know that peace is necessarily spoken of specifically, but I think it does come up, and that is a book on deities that I actually do really appreciate, because it's even though it's a marriage between working with deities and archetypes and the moon and the signs. But that's all I have for you right now, unfortunately. I wish I had more. I got your message, Jomar. Thank you. Kim says, Elena, could you touch on the subject of ancestral healing, ancestral veneration through the lens of anti-racism? That's a big one. What's the first step? I'm feeling called to ancestor work, but I've always been hesitant. That's a big one. Well, the first step that I would suggest is to make contact without the intention of anti-racism. And I say that not because I don't think that that's important work. I think that we all need to be doing that work, particularly with our ancestors, especially if you are not Black, right? And you are white of any form. But opening the doorway to connecting with your ancestors can bring with it a lot of emotional upheaval. It may not be, but it can. And so, in that sense, I say first make contact and get familiar with the land, right? With who's there, who shows up, who you're probably going to be working with the most initially, who's more readily accessible. You want to establish like a work crew. You want to venerate your ancestors for all that they are, because part of the work of working with your ancestors and ancestral veneration is taking the beautiful and the ugly and all of it at once. You can't sugarcoat it, right? We all have, most of us have people in our ancestral line who are either colonizers or abusers or criminals, or, right? We have that. That's part of, there's no way that anyone gets out of this clean and free. It's all in our ancestral line. I'm sorry, I'm adjusting. So, the anti-racism work has to happen because the healing needs to happen. And when we talk about healing our ancestral line, that will absolutely necessarily come in. We don't like it, it's not comfortable, but it will. But first, initiate contact, initiate veneration. And the veneration would look like, I'm honoring the line, I'm honoring the truth, I'm honoring that it's going to be the good, the bad, and the ugly, and all of the things in between, but I need to embrace all of it. And embracing all of it doesn't mean I'm going to accept everyone and right and all the unwell as well ancestors. Embracing it is I am showing up for what it is. I'm showing up for the work. I'm showing up for the fact that it's going to be beautiful, it's going to be empowering, but it's also going to be really hard. It's also going to be really uncomfortable. And it's also likely going to be very ugly. So get past that threshold and things will come up for you. And then once you've kind of established, I've got contact, I'm honoring myself and all that has been and all that will be after me, however that looks. Now I'm coming in with boundaries. I'm coming in with who are the well ancestors who are willing to ally with me in healing our ancestral line? Who are the well ancestors who are willing to ally with me in bringing those who are the murderers and the abusers and the racists and the whatever into healing? How do we work together to do this? Who is safe to work with me to do this work? So you enter it that way because you want to have allies in your ancestral line in doing this work. And that doesn't mean that the allies that you ally with to do this work aren't and didn't have racist issues in themselves, but they're willing to take that internal look as well. That's an important component. You're in relationship, you're engaging in relationships. So you want to look at ancestral work the same way that you would look at creating intimate relationships with people in your family or your chosen family here in the living world. Would you do anti-racist work with someone who is very deeply in their reaction, very deeply in their racism, who was very deeply fighting you on this? You wouldn't. You would ally with the person who's really willing to do the ugly work of looking at themselves. And then power in numbers, then that allyship can then do more work with the rest of the ancestral line who may not be ready for that kind of transformation. Does that make sense? It it's a lot. It's a lot. It's big work. It's important work. But I'm always an advocate for first establish the connection. First establish how things are going to go, and know who you're working with, or at least have a couple of ancestors that you've made comfortable contact with for a while so that then you can ally together to do the work. There's also your own personal journey with it where you need to come to terms with who your people have been, where you've come from, where you've benefited from oppressive privilege. Yeah. And all of that, I think, can also be really greatly supported by having a therapist or a counselor who's familiar with ancestral work, because you're going to need support as well. It can be incredibly difficult work to do that kind of, it's shadow work. And you can't think that you're going to engage in that kind of healing work in the ancestral line without it affecting your world. It will affect everything about you as well. And all those parts of you that are not that well intentioned to do anti racism work, the parts of you that are still very deeply woven into racism, because it's the water in which we swim. We can't, no one really can say that they're not fully we're all racist to some degree because it's the water in which we swim. You have to be willing to do that work for yourself. And sometimes that can be incredibly messy. And having external support, professional support, is also important. So it's a very wide, I just hit the microphone. It's a big field to work in. There's a book that I've recommended a lot. It's like such an amazing book. And I want to say that it's Ancestral Medicine by Danielle Foor, Foor. That work, that book has a lot of really great rituals and a lot, like a great guide for engaging in the healing work, but also engaging in the contact work and creating your ancestral allies and choosing your ancestral allies, but also setting boundaries with those that you're not ready to work with yet and how to navigate that. It's an amazing book. I recommend it everywhere I go. Get it for sure. And it's Danielle. No, I always say Danielle. It's Daniel Foor, Foor. Okay, I have missed a lot here. Hold on. Oh my gosh, sorry. I've just, a lot of comments have happened and I've just like, psh. Okay, I've seen Kim's. Okay. And my ancestors are white and not great. Yeah, I mean, most of our white ancestors are not great people. You know what I mean? It's a thing. Betsy says my cat loves all of my tarot witch stuff. The cats are witches. Can we just agree? They know. They see. They're witches. I often wonder if you believe in reincarnation, if like that's the highest incarnation. You just keep going through lives until you hit cat status and then you've arrived, right? Because cats. Yes, and Kim says she feels called to the subject because it's February, which is Black History Month. Yes, it's important work. I mean, it's a great spotlight, but it's work that you, especially if you are of any sort of white European descent, you will hit this at some point in your ancestral work. There's no way to get around it. No way to get around it. Emran says, I feel that same way. I've noticed I'm super sensitive to everyone and everything. I'm home alone always. I'm just feeling overwhelmed a lot from the outside, cars booming, bass, etc., people being loud. Yes. And let's also remember, because we're like into our third year of a global stressor, because it's not just the global pandemic, it's all of the things that have come with COVID. We are in an unprecedented time of global stress that we've never seen before, at least not in modern history. I would probably say that the last time we were in a global state of this level of stress may have been, I wasn't alive during this time, but might have been during World War II, when the entire world in some way or another was embroiled in the conflict. We're pretty tapped out. We are beyond stretched out when it comes to the level of stress that we've all sustained. And even if you've had an easy time of it during this pandemic, the field is just filled with stress and tension and division. So on top of the fact that as you do more work, you are just much more sensitive. That's part of what the work is about. On top of that, now we're being really sensitive in an environment which is deeply, incredibly stressful and impactful to our nervous system. So more time alone, more time where we're tending to ourselves, more time when we're replenishing ourselves is absolutely critical. But we also live in a world where taking that kind of time off isn't always viable financially or even realistic, given that we have families and a bunch of responsibilities. So just be tender with yourself and try to find ways, creative ways to resource. This is a new thing. I'm just on this kick where, how are we sourcing? We need to remember our parts, because we're into the third year. And now it feels like it's sort of normal. And it also feels like, oh, things are getting a little bit easier, a little bit better. But we're just tapped out as a human race. So understand that as well, that on top of the fact that we're also going to start to get really sensitive. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. On top of the fact that we're getting more sensitive, it's also really intense. The world is just really, really, really intense. And we are not at our best in terms of the energy that we have to manage it. Becky says, oh, would you elaborate a little more on how we as witches are biophilic, please? I want to be sure I understand the word properly. Yes. So there are different ways to look at the word biophilic. There is, at its base, at its most basic, it's life loving. But it's also can be life supporting, right? As witches, for the most part, not all witches are like this. Let's also understand that regardless of tradition, some witches are witches because they understand the technology of magic and they just want what they want and they're going to go get it. They're not necessarily worshippers of trees and nature, and right. So not all witches are biophilic, and you don't have to be. Again, it's a very intimately personal path. But at least most of the witches that I know are very tied into, I was going to say the soup. I'm hungry. So my metaphors are going to start moving towards food. We live in a field of life energy. The trees, where most of us, a lot of us are animistic, where the trees have consciousness, nature has consciousness, animals have consciousness. The planetary energy that we are all influenced by has a type of consciousness, and we connect to that. And so then there becomes a relationship where we recognize that we as humans, as a witch, I am not just singular, I am part of a much larger dance, and it's all sourced and animated by life, right? And so in pursuit of connecting to life and connecting to the spirit of trees and venerating and honoring both the dead and the alive and the trees and the animals and the elements, we become biophilic. There is a love and a connection and a relationship that we seek to engage in a way that, for the most part, well, at least for those who are biophilic, who want to return to the harmony and the peace and the natural dance of being in an environment where we are not just this dominant, destructive force to everything else that's alive. Yeah. So biophilic is really being in a state of life affirming, life supporting, life engaging, and that life isn't just human. Life is the trees and the air and the elements and the dance of the planets and the dead, right? And the seen and the unseen. So when I speak about biophilia or being biophilic as a witch, it is about really being in a state of honoring all of the consciousness and all of the things that are animated by life. And life is this force that animates everything. It animates us, it animates nature, it animates the energy in our world. Does that make sense? So you don't have to be that as a witch, but I speak to that in witches because those are the witches that I speak to. That's what we really, in a lot of ways, work with here at the Witches Box. More water because I am dehydrated. Oh, and Colin says, I found that listening to music is really helpful. A really good pair of headphones or speakers, and some time to myself is awesome combo. Yes, that's also really important. I just recently was on several different planes flying everywhere, and planes are noisy by nature. Just the motors or whatever, the engines are really noisy. You can never really get on a plane that's like quiet. And then people are talking, babies are screaming, which is fine. That's a whole other story because there was a poor mom with a baby who was screaming, and there was someone else who was just berating this poor woman and this child. The child's a child. Childs will scream. Childs will cry. Children will talk loud. In any case, in an airplane, take responsibility for yourself. This is like my public service announcement. Have some good earphones. Boom, you put them in. You don't hear anything. You've got some cool music. You've got all sorts of different types of music and sounds that can like take you into different states of being. So if your environment doesn't feel peaceful, if your environment feels like it's super noisy, listen, technology can be magic. Technology can be magic. You can get the ones that go over your ears, or, if you've got a little bit of extra cash to spend, Apple's earpods or whatever, earpods, whatever, the little white ones that we have that are amazing when they when you turn on the noise cancellation. So there are tools that help create an environment for yourself, even if the environment around you is hella noisy. I use those a lot. Which is interesting because sometimes when I'm out in public and I need to be out in public and people are just like, it's too much, I if I put those on, it just changes my capacity to still be in the space, even though I'm not talking to people, obviously, if I've got earphones on, but it changes my ability to be there because the noise is gone and I'm able to still be kind of in public at a cafe working without the like onslaught of noise. Anyway, I veered. I'm not sponsored by Apple, but I would love to be, by the way. But they work really great for that. Yes, lover of life. Okay, Emerin says, I'm guessing it's within me and what I'm attracting and working super hard to catch my focus and shift. And usually I can manifest things quick when I want, but this is taking forever. Well, and you're going to find that. I think we all find that. There are some things that were really, really easy. Like we have a high capacity to manifest quickly for ourselves. And then there are those parts of our lives where for whatever reason that thing is a little harder for me to manifest. That thing's always a little out of reach, and those just happen to be parts of us that we maybe have either limiting stories around, or we just have challenges or ancestral baggage around that we don't know about, or just some things are a little harder to like receive than others. So you'll find that some things, boom, you just think it and it's there, and then there are things where you're just like year after year you're working on this thing. It's kind of part of the dance. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, I still have a lot of like comments. I feel super chatty today because it's been so long. But I'm going to cap this off no later than 2:20 my time because I need to run into the workshop. Yes. So Susan Weemoon says the Great Cosmic Mother: Rediscovering the Religion of Earth, of the Earth book by Barbara Moore and Monica. I think it's Suju or Shu. I don't remember how to pronounce that. That's an amazing book. I had totally forgotten about that book. I love that you bring those books back up because they're so back in my memory. That was a phenomenal book. Tanya says, I have a friend whose son has stage 4 cancer. I would like to make a spell jar. What do you think is some of the best items to put in it? It depends on what it is the spell jar is for. Is it for an easy transition? Is it for healing? Are you wanting healing to the family system and to the son, where it's whatever needs to happen happens? Or is it healing like let's eradicate cancer? All of that is dependent, but I would ask permission to do this, and I would put something of that boy's body in the jar. So hair, if there's hair available, nail clippings, things like that, because you want to affect his body, presumably, if that's the healing that you're trying to work for. What else is there? Let me have a minute. Definitely a tag. So you want a tag lock. And I don't know how old this little boy is. If it's going to be, get the mom's permission. Don't, you know, if you have permission and you're going to take something from him to add to the jar, do it in a way that's like very not intrusive and not traumatic, right? Depending on the age of this child, you don't want to, if it's going to be disruptive, you don't need it. Don't make him uncomfortable. But if there's a nail clipping or if there's like just hair in a brush, you can use that. And then I would also get him engaged in the process. So I'd ask him what would it feel like? And again, depending on the age, I may not necessarily engage him in this. You can engage the mom or the parents. What would it feel like? What would it be like to be healed? And then have them name some sort of representation of that feeling. It could be a picture, it could be a word, it could be like a little cut off of a binky blanket, like something. You want something that's tied to the emotion of what the healing would feel like. You add that to the jar. I'm thinking now. I know that dead air is really awful, but this is a big question. So those two things, and I'm trying to think of what botanicals I would put in there. And this is a situation where there are botanicals that are very specifically about healing. I don't go the route of let me get out my correspondence book to see what botanicals would be really healing for cancer. You can, and that's a suggestion. So I would fill it with botanicals that pull together this intention. And I remember that you asked about making a bottle because you can also do like a doll where you literally can stuff it with the healing herbs, especially in the body part that the cancer is in. So that's another suggestion as well. But because it's a bottle, um, I there are botanicals that I just work with because they're easy to access for me or I have them on hand. And what I do when I'm going to do something like this is I set out some ritual space and I channel the herbs that I have and I ask them which one of you really needs to be in this bottle to affect the healing that we're really looking for here. Because sometimes the herbs that speak up to me and say, I need to be in there, aren't necessarily botanicals or herbs that you would normally um, find in a book that, oh, this heals cancer or this does that. But it's for whatever reason, because we are in a relationship together, the alignment or the energetic frequency of that botanical or herb would fit perfectly with the intention. So I go that route. I do that more and more. But you can do both. You can do it that way, or you can go to a book and then I would add botanicals that would support the healing. And those are the things that I would suggest putting in the bottle. Or in the jar. I'm trying to think of anything else wants to come through, but that's it. Yeah. Wait. Oh, I skipped. Someone was from Finland and then I lost you. Where is Finland? Oft. I was reading a sentence and it said, I am from Finland. And then my chat just kind of skipped a beat. Hold on. Wow, I did skip a lot. Here we go. I found you. Okay. Yes, this is Layla. This is Layla. Okay. I'm from Finland and I'm not familiar with the USA's news. So I'd like to ask, what is this thing that I come across in Instagram? If I understood right, some religious people burned Harry Potter. Jesus Christ. I have no idea. Religious people in the US often like to burn things that they find offensive. I don't know what this particular story is, but because Harry Potter is a witch and it's a book, it's a story about witchery, basically witchcraft and magic. For a long time, in the beginning when those books first came out, a lot of the Christian churches and maybe others as well in the United States really just had a hard time or really had a big reaction to they not wanting their children to read these books because it promoted things that they felt were satanic or evil or wrong. I don't know. I haven't heard the news now, so I don't know if someone is actually having a reaction to this again and burning these books, but that's a whole other talk for another day. It's likely very possible that that's happening. Um, is there a small group of people or a rising movement? Is it serious? I mean, I don't know because I haven't heard. The books have been out for so long. I don't take any of that seriously. I think that it's just ridiculous, but there are a lot of people who do take it seriously. I often find it very objectionable to be of the United States and not really understand the Constitution and burn books. I think that that's just an abomination, but then that's just me. So, like that. Column says, I think this is a suggestion for the jar. Definitely, I'd say jade of some sort to symbolize the roots and leaves of the forest, grounding him in the earth mother. Beautiful. Water of some kind for ether and clearing blockages of energy. Beautiful. Yeah. So things like that would symbolize the type of healing that you're looking for can be added as well. So here's, yeah. Okay, I won't respond to that. Season Woman says Max Dashu work, Visions of the Fates, Fairies, and the Old Goddess. Beautiful recommendation. Yes. Kimberly says my My hairstylist was just discussing spiritual energy, soul energy, crystal energy, and ancestral energy. What a great discussion. Beautiful. Layla says, can you recommend a book on shadow work and how to get started in it? Yes. We just had, in fact, I think on Monday, right? Am I right? I think I'm right. This next Monday, the booktube review for the Noble Art is going live. And the Noble Art was a book that we sent out with our January book subscription, if I'm not mistaken. And there are a lot of great books out there on working with shadow work, but I loved this book because it's an entire year's worth of work with your shadow, with the seasons, in a way that makes it really accessible. And I really feel like she described it and supports you in doing the work in a really accessible way. It's an amazing book. It's called The Noble Art by Tiffany Lasic, Lazic, Lazic, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it's out of reach, but it's over there. And I have a review coming out on that next Monday. But also, we don't have those books on sale anymore. We sold out. But you can get that through llewellyn.com, or you can get it through Amazon or Barnes and Noble. I'm not sure where you are. Everybody wants to be a cat. Yes. Excuse me. Yes, Abby says, I have another book in my to be read pile called What is Remembered Lives. Yes, it does cover ancestors. We sent that book out with our book bundle, our book subscription, maybe a year and a half ago, maybe. The February books that we sent out is her latest book. So we've got another one of Phoenix LaFay's books going out to people in February, which I'm really excited about. Hold on. I'm loving hands. I love that name. Yeah, we're all tapped out now, and the spiritual warfare kicks in tenfold. It's hard. It's really hard out here. Pamela says, I'm still new to all of this, and as a person of mixed heritage, British, African, and Native, should I mix my practice or just follow one? I'm pulled in a lot of different directions. I can't answer that for you. I think that you're in a unique position to really check in with yourself to see which one calls to you the most. My experience of people who are in that position is that over time and as they get older, it becomes sort of an amalgamation of all of the heritages, but you certainly don't have to do that. I think that I would turn first and foremost to the one that really seems to resonate with you the most, that is most accessible for you, but also that maybe you might have seen practiced at home if you did at all. Because the pull will come from the easiest door for you to walk through. Yeah. And that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. You want to walk through the one that's got the least resistance, the one that's going to allow you most access first so that you can get yourself into the spiritual world, the spiritual practice. And then that'll evolve over time. That'll inform you over time. Yeah. Okay, wait, I skipped something. Jamon says, so how does this equate with voodoo? I'm not sure what this is. Like, how does what equate with voodoo? If you can give me more words, that'd be great. And then I can try to answer. Emran says, I have been studying because of struggling with being able to accept being a psychic medium. I don't necessarily feel comfortable telling people, but it's something that I can't seem to escape from. So you can't seem to escape from receiving the information, or you can't seem to escape from telling people what comes through. Because an easy boundary with that is that if you just focus on how you manage the way you receive, you don't have to worry about other people until they ask you to tell them, right? So that instead of coming to people and telling them messages, you simply just set the boundary for yourself and for how that information is coming through, that I'm not going to just randomly tell people what's coming through for them until they actually ask me. And that way, that gives you space to work on and practice setting up a system or a foundation for yourself where you get comfortable with being a medium, right? You get comfortable with the way you receive information. You can start to feel some sort of mastery around when that information comes in and when it doesn't, or how you access it and how you don't. So creating some space for you to establish that foundation first without involving other people is important. Because first of all, I think too, as society is becoming a little bit more savvy to this, there are some people who are like, I don't want to hear from you right now. I didn't ask for this information. And we can trust the spirit world that if I'm saying to you, this is as an example, if I'm saying to you, I'm not really ready to receive this from you, the spirit world will find a way to get me the message. Do you know what I'm saying? So you are off the hook in that way. So just setting that boundary for yourself will create enough space for you to at least work with creating a foundation for yourself so that you can become comfortable. Get comfortable first. Because if you're not comfortable and it's already a little bit of a wonky, conflicted space that you're having or you're feeling within yourself, then the communicating to other people is also going to be a little bit more marred and not as clear and easily accessed or received by others. Yeah. Oh, Becky says, yes, yes, yes. That's exactly as I understood the word biophilic, and it describes me spot on. Oh, dang it. I just lost it. Where's, why? I don't know. I'm a hot mess with this keyboard. Okay, I got you back. Thank you so much for the elaboration. Wonderful. Alexis girl. Yeah. I'm working on it. And I'm actually in a really good place with the book, in the sense that I'm excited about I've been really frustrated with myself. Like, girl, just get this done. I'm in the same place that you are. And I was really frustrated because I'm always pulled in 1,000 different directions. It's been a pretty intense few months in general with a bunch of things. And but I also got this conversation with Tree, who is our graphic designer and my best friend. I call her my frister, my sister, friend, sister. Where I was conveying to her that I was frustrated about something else that took too long to download. Like, I've been working on something for over a year, and today in the shower and after the shower, when I was like moisturizing, all of a sudden, boom, the exact path just landed. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so not as hard as I was making it out to be. I can't believe I just got this download in the middle of like my ablutions. And so when I was texting her and voice messaging her, I'm like, I'm so slow. Like, why couldn't this have come through like a year ago? And she's like, trust the timing, trust the timing. So I say that because even though this book is taking way longer than I really would like it to, because it's taken so long, I have stumbled into a new layer of my work, my personal ritual work, where I'm just like, oh, this needed to be in the book. So I just got chills saying that. I'm trusting the timing, even though I'm like you, I'm still so frustrated. Like, can we just get this done already? Like, I just need it out. But I feel like the timing is its own perfect thing. It will be out there. But let me say too that in the middle of putting this book together, 2 other ones are like, we're here, you need to write us. So I don't even know what's going to happen. So there are 2 babies on the way. I have 3 variations of the book title, and I'm not going to share with all of you, but yes, Elizabeth, I have 3 different variations that I kind of keep playing with, but it's going to be one of those 3. Okay, I need to like because it's already 2:23. I could be here forever with you guys. Yes, Harry Potter and Twilight. I mean, I can't even talk about that. Yes, I wasn't allowed to watch the movies when I was a kid. Harry Potter was such I read them and then I saw the movies. Um I I'm so sentimental about those books, and interestingly, I am not a big fiction reader at all, but when those books came out, there was just such a beautiful innocent magic to it, conveyed in a way that just spoke to our need to be loved and our need to have family of choice, and how that can really be a healing source of comfort and empowerment in our life. Like, there's just so much to those books. um that it's, if you were not allowed to read them as a child for whatever reason, I would suggest that you take a summer to read. I think there's 7 books, 9 books. I don't remember how many books, because she got bigger and bigger. The books got chunkier over time. Read the books, even though the movies are amazing. Read the books. There's just a lot there in those books. It's really, really, really beautiful. I wonder what organized religious people think about the Wheel of Time. I mean, who knows? I love the Wheel of Time though. I only read the first book a million years ago, but I saw the series on Amazon. It was fantastic. Crap. Oh, here we go. BJ says, I wish more people would streamline their energy and focus on healing this world like the Ascendant Masters. Yeah. But there's that like the micro and the macro idea, right? Where if I focus on healing myself, then I also help heal the world. I think that we really need to we really need to have more and more conversations about deep, radical personal responsibility about healing our wounds, and not in a shameful way, but as a way that this is part of the deep responsible duty of a witch in the world who works in the world of energy and predominantly healing as well. Most witches in some way or another work in that realm. It has to start here, and it has to start with radical responsibility for the wounds that I have and how I deal with them and how I heal them and how I dedicate time, substantive time, to working on that, because without that foundation, my work in the world isn't going to be as powerful. It's just not. You can tell yourself it is, but it's not. That needs to be part of the dialogue in a big, big way, because that is what starts to heal the world as well. Yeah. Okay, I just lost a bunch again because it just skipped. So I'm going to pick up where I'm at because we have to stop. So, oh gosh. Okay, you guys are talking to each other. Ace of Die, I think that's awesome. Oh, the last book in the Practical Magic series. Have you? No, I haven't. I haven't. Wait, what are you talking about, Elspeth? Hold on. What did I miss? The Book of Magic, Tissues, Elena, Tissues. They got more lax in my teen years. Good. I'm glad that they got more lax in your teen years. True Blood. True Blood. Out of all the vampire TV shows that are out there, I didn't like Twilight. I don't like the teeny. I'm an adult, yeah, so I like adult vampire movies. True Blood was so good, and I don't know what I was doing the other day, and a YouTube video, I think of Eric Northman and Pamela, came up, and I had to watch it because I love their relationship. And I watched it. I'm like, I need to find some time to like watch that entire, like binge that entire series all over again, and I don't know when that's going to happen. But that was a good show. That was such a good show. It was dark and twisty and sexy and dirty and all the good things. Yeah, very adult. All right. Total self-healing is absolutely required. I agree 100%. Yes. And that's a whole topic. We should probably set some time aside at some point and talk about, what does healing mean? Does it mean perfection? Does it mean no illness? Does it mean no challenges? Or does it mean that we just dance with it differently? There's just all these different ways to look at what healing really is, which is really juicy. It's a beautiful conversation to have. Okay. I'm going to go. And announcements. On Friday, the retreat sales page, registration page goes live. Excuse me, I am really burpy today. I'm so sorry. I'm just a hot mess today. That's on Friday. Also Friday at 10 a.m. in the morning, a live guided meditation here on YouTube. Boxes will be all shipped out by tomorrow for February. Oh, I'll give you a reveal because you need to know this. Our box for our March box is an unhexing box. There is an amazing book in that box. So if you are not subscribed and you want to subscribe, do so today. Do it now, because on the 15th is the cutoff, and then you won't get the March box. So That's an announcement. The same thing goes for, oh, we've got really good books too for March. So the same thing goes for the book subscription. Are there any other announcements I need to give you? I think that's it. There may be more, but I think that that's it. If there are more announcements, I'll give them to you on Friday. That's it. Have a wonderful week. Um, yeah, take care of yourselves. Take some time. Um, take some time. Oh, also, this is the other announcement. I am it's 2:30. I need to go into the workshop for a little while, but I'm going to try to get, if not by tonight, I'm going to get out a newsletter sent out tomorrow morning, because I'll be putting new free downloadable Book of Shadow pages on the website, and the newsletter will give you information about that. So that's going out tomorrow. There'll be 3 to 5 new Book of Shadow pages to download for free. So that'll be, let me just give myself time and say by tomorrow morning that newsletter will go out. And that's it. All right, my loves. I love you all. I really appreciate that you show up, and I love these conversations, and I love that everything is working and that I'm back. Um, yeah, and that's it. I will see you in a couple of days, I'm sure. Take care, be safe, and do some big magic. Yeah? Big magic is what we need. Okay.